A 31-year-old invited an old neighbor to move into his house. A general question: how well do you know your neighbor? Well enough to ask them to live with you in your home. Can you ask your neighbor to live with you? A 31-year-old invited an old neighbor to live with him in her last years. The story of a 31-year-old invited an old neighbor might be old, but it inspires even today. The story is of Chris Salvatore, aged 31, and an 85-year-old woman. It was in 2013 when Chris moved in across the hall from Norma Cook, who was living with her cat Hermes. The two began wishing hello to each other. And one day Salvatore introduced himself and they became fast friends. Matter of fact, they became such good friends that Chris couldn't bear leaving Norma alone. This was because she was nearing the end of her life and needed constant care. A friendship that saw no age barrier. The friendship between the two was amazing, but as Norma turned 89, her health began to decline. Her health was so bad she had to be hospitalized. Salvatore found out the hospital is not letting Norma leave the hospital. And the reason behind this was, she needed constant care. Norma had no children and no family member living nearby, making her at a loss. Salvatore decided to take the matter into his own hands. He took to the internet and began setting up a GoFundMe for Norma. The two friends even interviewed some caretakers, but the 31-year-old soon realized he had to do something more than this. Speaking to Today, Salvatore said, "The only option that faced me was to take her to my home. And he couldn't let someone who's like his grandmother to be alone at this crucial time. So, he invited Norma to live with him in his apartment." Salvatore told GoFundMe he is happy he was able to give her the gift of living her last days in a home. "I couldn't imagine how it must be to live your last days in a hospital without any family, friends or pets." Norma also spoke to Today and said they never missed the news. And they would mostly talk over champagne and eat peanuts. Unfortunately, the friend passed away. Unfortunately, Norma passed away on February 15, 2017. Salvatore shared the heartbreaking loss on an Instagram post and shared some of the pair's adventures. Salvatore recalls she used to call him the grandson she never had. Though Chris didn't have to do anything for Norma in any way, being there for her in her last days was all she needed. Please share the video if you think there should be more like Salvatore.